Your retirement dreams are out there. We can help you live them. This is Retire with Freedom with Birmingham's premier retirement planners, Tad and Toni Hill.
Hi, this is Toni Hill with the Retire with Freedom radio show, and I am with Tad Hill here. We are talking about all things retirement planning, and today we got a couple of good topics. We're going to do just retirement planning 101, some basics, and a lot of things that we'll talk about that we run into on a daily basis here at Freedom Financial. And also we'll give a message to like good savers, people that are actually doing a good job of saving, and some things that they might want to look deeper in besides just saving money and how they're saving it.
Yeah, what to do with the money you're saving.
Right. So let's get in here. Again, this is Retire with Freedom, Freedom Financial Group, and you can get in touch with us at 205-988-0006, 205-988-0006. You can call or text that number. So, Tad, let's get into the first topic today. We're just going to talk about some 101 basic retirement planning and some things that we want to talk about.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So one of the things that both of us, all of us here, all of our advisors here, we run into is a lot of people really want to get educated. They want to educate themselves. And the people that come in here are really, really good at doing that. They've done their homework usually a lot of times.
The people that are listening to this radio show and that come and visit us or come to our retirement course that we teach at Vestavia Library or Jeff State or the Hoover Library.
Yeah, wherever, all over town.
Several places. Those people are planners.
Right. Yeah.
So you, our listener, you aren't our listener if you're not a planner by nature.
Right. Yeah.
So, but the point we're making here is you're trying to educate yourself, but unless you're a retirement planner as your vocation, there's probably a limit to how well you're going to be able to get your arms around all of the things that go into retirement planning by just doing research, reading books, Googling things.
Yeah.
In fact, Google can be your worst enemy.
Yeah. Because it's going to give you all kinds of information, and who knows whether it specifically relates to anyone's certain circumstances or not. I mean, recently, like this year and probably last year, I had a lot of folks that came in and were talking about, they read books on doing Roth conversions because they wanted to avoid taxes and those things coming up in the future, with taxes going up. And so sometimes it was a good idea, and we did the analysis and decided it was a great idea and a great strategy for them. But sometimes for different people and for different reasons, it's not always the best idea. It's a great concept and there's nothing wrong with it, but it doesn't really help some people.
Well, so let's help make sure our listeners understand what a Roth conversion is. A Roth conversion is when you take a tax-deferred account, like a 401k or an IRA or something that you've never paid tax on, and you convert it into a Roth IRA. Now, what a Roth IRA is, and a lot of people don't know this either, is a tax-free account. So what that means is you pay tax before you put the money in, but then all of your returns, any interest or dividends or gains or any of that you get, are tax-free. And so a lot of people make too much money to contribute to a Roth IRA, but there are no earnings limits on Roth conversions.
Yeah, moving it from the tax-deferred bucket to the tax-free bucket.
So all you're doing is taking money that you've never paid tax on, you pay the tax, you move it into a tax-free bucket, and now all the growth is tax-free.
And that is a good idea theoretically. It's a great idea.
It is a good idea. There's a couple other things to know. One is you don't have to convert all of your money all at once. Sometimes people think, well, I got $1 million in my IRA or $1 million in my 401k. If I'm going to roll that over, and if you've got a 401k and you're younger than 59 and a half and you've been at your company for a while, there's rules about whether you can roll that over, all kinds of stuff. We're not going to get into that.
Right. There's a lot.
There's a lot of stuff around that.
Right.
But let's assume you can get to your tax deferred money and you can do a conversion. You don't have to do it all at once. And one of the things, we have software programs that we use that actually tell us how to optimize the conversions. So, if you've got $1 million, maybe you shouldn't be converting, $250,000 a year. Maybe you should only be converting $50,000 a year. And maybe we're not going to get it all converted. Maybe we just get a quarter of it converted, but now we've got $250,000 of tax-free money.
Right.
And so Roth conversions and taxes are on sale right now, because taxes the tax provisions are going to sunset, and starting in 26, they're going back up. Mm-hmm. So there's an opportunity right now to liberate some of your tax deferred money and get it into tax-free buckets. And Peyton, I almost called you Peyton. Peyton is our oldest daughter. So Toni.
Yes.
Tyler, Shannon.
That's all for kids. Roll call.
A lot of people don't have advisors or even their CPAs willing to help them with this.
Right. Yeah. And it needs to be analyzed, just like you said, so we can decide what's the optimization of doing that conversion if it's right for someone. Because a lot of times maybe people don't have enough time for that conversion, to grow tax-free.
Right.
It depends on how soon you need to get to the money. A lot of different things go into it. So reading a book, we go back to read the book. Read a book about Roth conversions and how they work doesn't necessarily mean this is something that somebody needs to do.
Well, reading a book about or an article about Roth conversions is one of the most confusing things I've ever read in my life.
Yeah, you got to have. And the other thing, are reading books about different kinds of investment strategies or different things like that, how things work. It's easy to read a book about it, and books are written in a way where it sounds like this is a no-brainer. This is a super easy thing.
Everybody should do this.
I can do this, and who couldn't do this by themselves? But with the details, it's really the details that we got to get into and know if it's appropriate for each person.
And, Toni, I mean, this leads me to just think about the fact that people that are trying to get this whole retirement planning thing right, like you're going to retire, your paychecks are going to stop, and you're trying to figure out, when should I take Social Security? Should I do Roth conversions? Should I pay off my house? What am I going to do about my pension? Where am I going to generate my income from? My broker, whoever just tells me, oh, don't worry, we're going to average 7 or 8%. You can pull out 5 or 6, everything will be fine. And so these are all things that we talk about in our retirement course that we teach, and we do it at Vestavia Library and the Hoover Library, and we do it at Jeff State, and we do one a month, and they tend to fill up very quickly. So I would strongly encourage you to call and get on the roster for our next course, because we go through income planning, investment planning, tax planning, healthcare planning, legacy planning, and we do a deep dive into all of these things. So if you are a planner, and I know that you are because you're listening to a retirement planning radio show, take it a step further, do yourself a favor, and come to our next course. Call or text 988-0006. That's 205-988-0006. For the folks not in Birmingham, Toni, we get people drive in all the time. It's in the evening on Thursdays, typically starts at 6. So that gives people a chance, maybe take it off an hour early of work and get down here. But we have people driving from Huntsville, Montgomery,
out of state.
Yeah. So do yourself a favor. I mean, I know we're talking about us and our services, but I can't think of a better use of your time than to come to our course and have us go through and explain all the things that you need explained as it relates to retirement planning. Call or text 205-988-0006. That's 205-988-0006.
And further on this a little bit, it's a little different topic, but trying to do this but reading a book to me is like doing it on your own as well. Like now you're trying to decide, how do I do this? Does this work? Is it appropriate for me? I mean, those kinds of things. So you say this all the time, like the first time you do anything, just like you were saying, it's probably not your best effort, right, or the outcome won't be the best because you've never done it before, and you don't realize all the questions you should be asking yourself, all the things you need to be examining and analyzing. And every time you make a decision in retirement planning, like let's decide you decide to do Roth conversions or whatever we're talking about, you decide to do one thing, it's going to affect everything else in retirement.
100%.
So you can't, I always say it's like pulling a shoestring. You pull it too far on one side and it's too short on the other.
That's a great point, because, I'll get asked questions a lot by people like, they'll fill out like our retirement planning guide, which when you come in to sit down with us, here's what happens. I think this is good for me to paint a word picture of this for people.
Okay.
We have an office here in Inverness. You walk in the door, Lauren greets you. We call her Miss Joyful. So Lauren greets you at the door, gets you seated, gets you a snack. And we've asked you to do a little bit of homework first. There's a retirement planning guide that you fill out. You bring some stuff in with you. And then we sit down with you and we just get to know each other. And we're gathering all the information that we need to gather so that we can help you plan your retirement. And we know all the questions to ask. So, we're asking all the questions, we're gathering all the information, and then we're walking through. And typically it's a couple of visits, and we do this at no charge, completely free. And our goal is that you walk out of our office or our Zoom meeting. Mm-hmm. If you're in Huntsville, or I met with some people in Tennessee earlier this week. And so if our goal, if we're meeting with you either virtually or in person, is that you're going to leave that experience with much more clarity on what you need to be doing to plan your retirement than when you came in. And so my point is, though, Toni, sometimes people will ask me things like, okay, well, I filled out your form. When should we be taking Social Security?
Right.
What should I've got a pension decision coming up. What should I do about my pension decision? Mm-hmm. And my answer to them is always, we 100% are going to figure that out because we do this all the time, but we can't do it in a vacuum.
And we can't do it without any analysis done on top of that. Like we said, every decision we make is going to make a difference. So that was a good picture, Tad. You're like the Bob Ross of retirement planning.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not sure if that's a compliment, but I'll take it.
He's did the trees.
I know. Oh, but Bob was a good dude.
Really? I like Bob. It was very relaxing.
So anyway, but your point was, we can't just do something in a vacuum. You can't read a book and do a Roth conversion. You can.
Yeah, but who knows?
But you need to know how's that going to impact everything else, because there's times where Roth conversions are a terrible idea.
Absolutely.
Everybody thinks, I need to get my money tax-free. But really,
there's a toll to pay, and there's things to be, you got to look at it.
Well, if we need the money to live on in retirement and it's all tax deferred, if we go paying all the tax now, because that's what you have to do.
Right.
Which is one of the reasons people sometimes don't want to do it. But if we do that now, it can compromise your income plan.
Absolutely.
Although, for a lot of people who aren't going to spend all their tax-deferred money, it's going to save them even tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in retirement.
Right.
So listen, if you just want common sense retirement planning and you want to talk to us, get to know us, come to one of our courses, sit down with us, give us a call, 205-988-0006. That's 205-988-0006. Call or text 988-0006.
Sign up for a complimentary consultation with Tad and Toni. That's AskFreedomFinancial.com